Welcome, everyone. At this time, to the Board of Commissioners special call meeting, public hearing. At this time, I'll ask the City Clerk, Beth Davis, to please call the roll.
Commissioner Pam Smithroyd.
Here.
Commissioner Sharon Neesmith.
Here.
Mayor Tom Watson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mark Kesslin.
Here.
Commissioner Bob Glenn.
Here.
Thank you. Item 3, public hearing. Ms. Waniger, it's your show.
Thank you, Mayor. We're having this meeting because statute requires us to. It's kind of loud. So it's by KRS 174.100, which requires a public hearing by any local government before expending state-derived tax revenues on its roads to take the sense of the public regarding the use of these monies. The approved annual budget for fiscal year 2023-24 contains $1,242,413 for municipal road aid and $45,000 for local government economic assistance. If anyone has any comment, question, or suggestion regarding the use of these funds, this public hearing is the venue to voice that your opinion on that. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm good. Any action? Is there any public comment? Hearing none, I guess I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion now? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned from the public hearing. We'll be back at 5 o'clock for the regular meeting. Welcome, everyone. Whoops. The Owensboro Board of Commissioners regular meeting, June 6th, D-Day. At this time, I will have City Clerk Beth Davis to please call the roll.
Commissioner Pam Smithroyd,
Here.
Commissioner Sharon Neesmith,
Here.
Mayor Tom Watson,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mark Caslen,
Here.
Commissioner Bob Glenn.
Here. Thank you. At this time, we'll have the invocation and pledge, if you stand if you're able, Commissioner Glenn.
Bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, as we come together tonight to deliberate the people's business, there's smoke in the air from the wildfires in Canada, but it is clear to us, as clear as day, all the blessings and grace and mercy you provided this wonderful, beautiful city of Owensboro, Kentucky on the river, which is a wonderful place to live, raise a family, and work. Lord, as leaders of this community, we ask that you help us make good decisions that are pleasing unto you and pleasing in the long term to the future of our community. And also bless all of our city workers in every department and program for the great work that they do to keep our city moving forward. And help us tonight to, through a spirit of love and in tandem with you, Lord, to keep moving this community forward in a loving and progressive way. In Jesus' name, amen. And now the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll go to 4A, approval of minutes from May 9, 2023, May 15, 2023, May 16, 2023. I'll make a motion to approve these minutes. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 4B, consider board appointments. Apollo Area Neighborhood Alliance, we report Anita Scribner, and Woody Maglinger to a 2-year term effective June 16, 2023. And to the City Utility Commission, reappoint J.T. Fulkerson to fill the remainder of an unexpired term which ends December 31st, 2024. Could I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. We'll move to item 5, ordinance, second reading. This will be a roll call vote. Ms. Davis.
Ordinance 13-2023, an ordinance adopting and approving the annual budget of the City of Owensboro, Kentucky for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023 and ending June 30, 2024, and appropriating the revenues to the various departments of the city as set forth herein. Read for approval on second reading the 6th day of June, 2023.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second? Could I have a second, please? Second. Thank you. City Manager?
Yes, Mayor, this is second reading of an ordinance adopting the city's 2023-2024 fiscal year budget. There have been no changes to the budget draft as provided to you in April, discussed in the video sent for your review, as presented in detail to the Board of Commissioners and the public at our work session last month, and as I also briefed you on at our last meeting. So in summary, it is a balanced budget while investing in infrastructure, public safety, and our fine employees. Finally, I'd like to thank all of our staff who were involved in preparing and administering this document.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Davis? No? Yes, roll call again.
Yes.
Sorry.
Commissioner Neesmith,
Recuse.
Mayor Watson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Caslen,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Smithroyd.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, perhaps should comment, Commissioner Neesmith and I did talk, and because she was not here for any of the presentations and get the documentation for the budget, we thought it was appropriate she recuse herself.
I just thought you didn't read it.
You didn't give it to me.
No, I didn't give it to you. Yeah, I love that document. I've been keeping it. Okay, item 6, please.
Ordinance 14-2023, an ordinance amending the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022 and ending June 30, 2023, and amending Ordinance 8-2022 to provide funding for wage study, mayor contingency, information technology and garage equipment needs, and Ben Hall's irrigation project, to receive and appropriate CARES Act funding for rental assistance and small business relief, to provide appropriations and receive reimbursement for secondary employment services and various police grants, and to true up TIF revenues and appropriations for year end. Introduced and publicly read on first reading the 6th day of June, 2023.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. What we did on the last item was our next year budget for the budget starting July 1. This item pertains to our current fiscal year, which ends on June 30th. And it's typical at the end of every fiscal year in June, we do what we call a cleanup budget amendment. There's various things that need to be trued up. So the city clerk read a list of those, so I won't necessarily comment on those individually unless you have any questions. I'll just say that all of these were really known or expected. There's really nothing new, nothing controversial. A lot of these are pass-through items like grants, so we receive grant funds. We have to account for that receipt of funds and for the disbursement or expenditure of those funds as well. And typically, you've already approved those grant applications, but now we have to come back and include those in the budget. So it's various items like that related to the grants, compensation study, CARES Act funding, things of that nature.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the dais? Hearing none, thank you. Item 6B, Ms. Davis?
Ordinance 15-2023, an ordinance closing an alley right-of-way adjacent to 1624 Parish Court, 1625 Cary Court, and 1617 Cary Court in the city of Owensboro, Kentucky. Introduced and publicly read on first reading the 6th day of June, 2023.
Thank you. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. This is first reading of an ordinance closing an alley between Cary Court and Parish Court. All contiguous property owners have provided written consent for the closure. OMU and RWRA will retain easements in the area to access their infrastructure. And you can see on the screens in front of you on that map that our GIS department prepared, it's the area that's hatched in red. That was a small alley that connected Parish Court that you see on the right or the eastern side, and then Cary Court on the left side, on the west side there.
Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you very much. Item 6C, please.
Ordinance 16-2023, an ordinance closing an alley right-of-way adjacent to 1627 Mayo Avenue in the city of Owensboro, Kentucky. Introduced and publicly read on first reading the 6th day of June, 2023.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor, like the last item, this is first reading of an alley closure ordinance. This alley is off of Mayo Avenue. Again, all contiguous property owners have provided consent for the closure. OMU and Spectrum will retain easements on this particular closure. And just like the last item, I'll point you to the screen. You can see hatched in red is the alley to be closed north of Mayo Avenue.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, thank you. We'll move to 6D, please. Ms. Davis?
Ordinance 17-2023, an ordinance of the city of Owensboro, Kentucky, providing for the creation and sale of a franchise for the privilege of constructing, transporting, operating, maintaining, and distributing natural gas along and under public right-of-way within the city of Owensboro, Kentucky, for a term of 20 years, in consideration for which the successful franchisee shall pay to the city an annual sum equal to a minimum of 3% of the gross revenues derived from the franchise awarded herein, and further establishing a process by which the successful franchisee shall be permitted to disturb and excavate public right-of-way within the city in order to construct, install, maintain, and/or repair its gas facilities, fixtures, and other infrastructure on terms and conditions set forth herein, and further establishing a bid procedure for the award of said franchise to the successful bidder. Introduced and publicly read on first reading the 6th day of June, 2023.
Thank you. City Manager?
The state constitution authorizes the city to have franchise agreements with companies who use city right-of-way for their business. We have various franchise agreements with not only Atmos, but with Spectrum, with another cable company, and with Kenergy utilities or companies that have infrastructure in city right-of-way. Our current natural gas franchise began in 2013, had a 2% fee and a 10-year term. And so beginning in 2013 with a 10-year term, it expires this year. This ordinance creates a new natural gas franchise, which we will advertise, and after receiving bids, we'll bring back to a future Board of Commissioners meeting to be awarded. On a practical level, though, Atmos is really the only reasonable bidder because they own the natural gas infrastructure in our community, but we're required to satisfy the state requirements for the process. So we will bid it and bring it back for award, but again, because Atmos owns the infrastructure, no one else could really bid for it. For the new franchise, we're proposing a 20-year term with a 3% fee. 1% of the 3% would go to the city general fund, and the remaining 2% would go to the economic development fund and be restricted for the use of economic development. And specifically, Riverport Director Brian Wright also serves as the chairman of the Economic Development Corporation. In a recent article, Brian shared that the EDC has engaged a site consultant to evaluate sites for future economic development. I'm participating in that process with our colleagues at the EDC. We hope and expect the consultant will identify sites to be acquired and marketed to future prospects and projects, and the 2% franchise fee would be dedicated for economic development to be the funding for these future sites. Other than that, this is a very standard agreement. So in summary, it's an ordinance to create a natural gas franchise. We'll bid and come back at a subsequent meeting to award.
Any discussion? I have a couple of comments. I wasn't really for this increase since Paducah and Bowling Green are lower than us now, but the 20-year deal made it a whole lot more palatable. Atmos is one of our most valued corporate citizens, and I don't want to upset them at all, but they were okay with it, so I will, when it comes to vote, I'll be for it. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Item 7.
Municipal orders. Municipal Order 25-2023, a municipal order authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a deed of easement for the acquisition of temporary and permanent easements over and across property located at 2160 Griffith Avenue. Read for approval on one reading the 6th day of June, 2023.
Okay. Could I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
City manager?
This municipal order approves an easement with St. John Methodist Church at their location on Griffith Avenue. The easement is part of work for the York Ditch Drainage Basin. A storm sewer pipe will run from Biddle to Griffith under the church's property, and this agreement provides legal authorization for us to do so and place the pipe for that important project.
Thank you. Any other discussion? So, okay, yes. All right. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7B, please.
Municipal Order 26-2023, a municipal order authorizing and directing the mayor to execute real estate purchase agreements for the acquisition of properties located at 915 Cedar Street and 917 Cedar Street. Read for approval on one reading the 6th day of June, 2023.
Thank you. City manager?
Thank you, Mayor. Operation Firehouse is the city's plan to invest in almost all of our fire facilities over the next few years. As you know, we have completed an expansion and renovation of Fire Station 2 on Highway 54 last year. We're currently constructing a new fire training center at the corner of Parrish Avenue and J.R. Miller, and a replacement Station 3 on Cravens Avenue is currently in design. And then after that, we plan a new replacement station for Station 1 on 9th Street, which is our headquarters station, I guess you could say. To continue with these investments, this municipal order authorizes the purchase of 915 and 917 Cedar Streets, which are contiguous on the southwest side of Station 1. These acquisitions will provide much needed space to build a modern and appropriately sized headquarters station in a couple of years. The cost for the two properties combined is $235,000. And we included funding for this acquisition in a budget amendment earlier this year, which we accounted for the receipt and expenditure of bond funds for various projects, including these fire facilities. So again, on the screen, you can see the properties in red on the left side there at 915, 917 Cedar are what we're considering today. You can see the Station 1 property there above that to the north. And you can also see to the right, there's one in yellow that's labeled as a city property. So that squares up essentially the property that we'll use for replacement of Station 1 in future years.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I have a question. I didn't hear you. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay, next item, Ms. Davis.
Municipal Order 27-2023, A municipal order authorizing the sale of the City of Owensboro's one-third interest in property containing approximately 20 acres located in the Mid-America Air Park and authorizing the mayor to execute a real estate option, purchase agreement, and deed conveying the property to Kenergy Corp. Read for approval on one reading the 6th day of June, 2023.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
City manager?
Yes, sir. This municipal order authorizes an option and sale of the city's interest in land in the air park to Kenergy. Most land in the air park was or is owned by Economic Development Partners, which is a partnership between the city, the county, and the Industrial Foundation. But for some parcels, especially on the south end of the air park, the city's one-third interest is held separately outside of our EDC partnership. As a result of our interest on this particular project being in the city's name, the Board of Commissioners must approve the sale. The EDP has already approved the sale of the remaining two-thirds of their interest to Kenergy. It's my understanding the company plans to relocate their operation from Highway 54 to the air park because of traffic congestion on Highway 54. It makes it difficult for their trucks and equipment. Sales price is $40,000 an acre, which was the asking price when negotiations with Kenergy began. I think there is a Kenergy representative here today, should you have any questions for them about the project. And actually, Mayor, I would say the next item is also related to the Kenergy transaction as well.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Municipal Order 28-2023, a municipal order authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of Owensboro and Kenergy Corp., by which the corporation shall relocate its offices presently located at 3111 Fairview Drive to the Mid-America Air Park in the City of Owensboro in exchange for certain financial incentives from the city, including a rebate of 50% of the ad valorem real property taxes and general fund occupational fees on gross wages for 8 years. Read for approval on one reading the 6th day of June, 2023.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
City manager?
Again, related to the last item, this municipal order approves an incentive agreement with Kenergy for the air park property we just considered. The company will invest approximately $20 million in the air park and locate approximately 82 employees there, as well as annex their Fairview Drive property prior to its sale. In exchange, the city will extend Air Park Drive south to the Kenergy site, provide a $5,000 per acre rebate on the land sale, and provide an 8-year 50% general fund occupational tax rebate for new taxes generated by the project. This is a great project and a good partnership, and we appreciate the company's investment in our community.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I'm tickled to death to have them. Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. City manager items.
First, Mayor, for your consideration tonight, I have the following personnel appointments for new hire probationary status: James Bryce Ham, probationary, full-time, non-civil service appointment to labor and maintenance helper with the Stormwater Department, effective June 19th. Richard Main, probationary, full-time, non-civil service appointment to bus driver with transit, effective June 19th. Shelley Shepard, probationary, full-time, non-civil service appointment to human resources assistant with personnel, effective July 3rd. Tanner Towns, probationary, full-time, non-civil service appointment to firefighter with the fire department, effective July 3rd. And then promotional probationary, Dustin Ham, probationary, full-time, non-civil service promotional appointment to maintenance equipment operator with the street department, effective June 19th. And Zachary Brown, probationary, full-time, non-civil service promotional appointment to maintenance equipment operator with the street department, effective June 19th as well.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
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 Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Just one related comment, Mayor. Our non-full-time employees are not subject to commission approval. We do have a new city team member with us today. Isabel Velez is a marketing intern who is with us this summer. She is an incoming senior at Grand Canyon University studying communications, and so we're pleased to have her here. This is her first meeting, so I thought it would be nice to embarrass her and say hello.
Hello. You want to embarrass anybody else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Communication from elected officials. Commissioner Glenn.
I just have one quick comment. So you travel to the 49th state, thousands of miles from Owensboro on vacation, and Owensboro Fire Department is there with their patch. They were one of the few Kentucky at Ketchikan Fire Department, volunteer fire department that had a collection of patches, and ours looked the best. I'm just telling you that. Ours looked the best. So anyway, that's my one comment. It's good to be home.
Okay, Commissioner Castleton.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
It's been a busy 2 weeks for me. I've been vacationing with the family out of town. But today I did get the opportunity to go out to the airport and see an expansion of our air service to Chicago. That's pretty exciting. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. Are you going to abstain or are you going to talk? Okay, Commissioner Neesmith. All right.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for your warm welcome and to let you know that this team up here has been very helpful. And I want a special thanks to all of my close friends for not showing up today because they were going to do the wave in the back to welcome me. So.
We could maybe pull that off yet. Commissioner Smith Wright.
I only have one thing is that I want to thank this community for showing out for the veterans on Memorial Day at our service at the Sports Center. It's heartwarming to know that our community is invested in our veterans. They're the reason that we're all able to be up here and make decisions for our community and that we're free. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I was at Glenn Memorial Service for the
Yes.
Memorial Day thing, and they always do a fabulous job there. And when they turn those doves loose, it's really nice. And we had a couple of really good speakers that were veterans, and it was an emotional time. We sat through that together. So, and also the other night we had the symphony on with their Rockapella group, and I want to thank some of our corporate citizens for helping to put that together. It was really a nice evening, nice weather. Food was it okay, honey? Food was all right. You know, out it's 7 o'clock at night. You know, so I guess we're truly blessed to have such great corporate citizens in Owensboro, and they do a tremendous amount of things for a lot of different people, and don't really ask for any credit, but I think we ought to recognize them as much as we possibly can. And open public forum. Did I get everybody? Yeah, okay. Oh,
yeah.
the precinct heard from. The drone show, where's Timmy? Is he gone all right? He's inside the hole? Come out here and explain that drone thing, man. Why is your face red?
How do you want me to explain it?
Well, I mean, you know, it was phenomenal. So tell us about it and how it came about and everything and who sponsored it and all that.
It is, yeah. It's certainly a unique experience if you hadn't seen it in person. It's an idea that we had between Dave Kirk over at the CVB and myself probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. We talked about it when we saw it in other markets. Then obviously Holiday World had it last summer for about 6 or 8 weeks, I think they did, nightly. And we had talked to that drone company that provides that service for them. And the CVB then kind of jumped at the opportunity with the Kentucky Tourism Industry Association conference while they were here in town and wanted to put on a show for that tourism group that's here, part of the state tourism folks. And so the pieces kind of fell into place for us to be able to do that. And so they reached out to us. The city helped provide the financing for some of that. The drone company provided a huge sponsorship to be able to showcase that before Holiday World does their season. And then German American Bank and then the CVB came on board with the city to help kind of make that happen. So Dave at the CVB called me one day and said, hey, I think we can really make it happen that week. Can we pull the pieces together? And so we talked to Leland and to Nate to see if we could get on board with it financially, and it worked. And it just kind of fell into place to be able to do it on city night with Friday After 5. So it was a pretty good show, I think, that people were impressed with. So hopefully we can do it again sometime down the road.
Yeah, I was up there doing silly mayor stuff, you know, and then I was trying to get back to sit with Barbara, and I couldn't get back there. There were so many people. And I kind of just stopped and listened, and this young guy leaned over to his significant other and said, "Can you believe an old country town like this could have something that nice?" Yeah. I said, "Yes, I can." So it was pretty
It was good.
cool.
Well, we're glad everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was. Was it videotaped?
We did a live stream of that. I think the Owensboro Times did a live stream of that as well, and I think we had a live stream going of that as well.
It might be something kind of show again sometime.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Timber.
Yes, sir.
Y'all do a great job.
Mayor, I will add that one of the citizens advised me that when we were watching it, that this is how the aliens will look when they come to get us.
They look like they was having fun. Okay, are we open public forum yet? Members of the audience are invited to address the city commission on any matter of public concern that was not on tonight's agenda. Comments are limited to issues within the scope and responsibility of the commission. The commission meetings are held to conduct city business for the benefit of Owensboro citizens and taxpayers. At this time, anyone who wishes to address the city commission, please make their way to the podium to be recognized. Speakers must state their name and address for the record, and please limit their remarks to 3 minutes or less. Since the item's not on the agenda, no response is required from city staff or commission. So, who's up? Oh boy. The veteran gets up. He ain't scared.
I'm not going to do the veteran thing. My name's Tim Byers. I live at 2626 Epworth Lane, Trinity Hills. I've heard through the grapevine that you might be considering loosening the smoking ban having to do with Churchill Downs coming up here. And I just wanted to voice my concern about that on a personal note. This is not veterans or anything. I'm a previous smoker for 30 years. I've had my chest ripped open because of it. And I think it would be a really, really bad thing if the commission considered relaxing the ban on smoking they have here. It really should be tightened up. If you knew what I went through, I don't think the city wants to condone something like that. So that's the end of it. That's
You got 2 more minutes.
no, I don't need it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? That was the nail. Here's the hammer.
I hope not. So I'm Clay Horton. I'm with the Green River District Health Department. And I, too, our address is 1501 Brackenden Street. I'm here to address the smoking issue. I know there were a couple of public statements this past weekend encouraging people to come speak to the City Commission, encouraging the amendment, and so I wanted to be here to respond to that if that was the case. I'm not going to drown you all with facts and figures. I've done that already. We talked back in March. I had to dig my notes out, and as I'm sitting here looking through them, and they're way too long to go through tonight. But I do want to hit on just some high points. You know, the proposed business, in order to allow indoor smoking, is not necessary for them to be successful. We know that there are light gaming businesses other parts in the country, both near and far, that are successful in smoke-free environments. And some of the arguments that we're hearing were the same arguments we heard 20 years ago when we first started talking about smoke-free communities in Owensboro. And that was that bars would not be able to stay open, and that local diners would not be successful if we didn't allow smoking. Owensboro took the right steps forward. We did not have that experience, and I think if you talk to operators that were there both before and after our smoking policies, they're going to say that it was a change for the better. Ventilation, we're happy to provide information on why separate ventilation and mechanical ventilation are not adequate. Again, I won't bore you with figures tonight, but just finally just want to say that, you know, I realize it's a unique situation. It's not like other sectors that we've dealt with. About state law, there's no competition. These facilities can only be operated by racetracks. They have limits geographically on where they can locate and who can do that. You all took a step forward. You all have been leaders within the region, and Owensboro is better because of it. So I would encourage you to as you think about these proposals, to keep that in mind. Other businesses are successful with the smoking policies that we have. This one can be as well. And as these discussions go forward, please allow the health department to be a resource for you. Becky Horn and Gary Hall here are both experts on this policy area. They're both great resources, and please allow us to support you any way we can.
Thank you, Clay. Who's next? Dr. Neal, I believe you delivered our first boy, didn't you, honey?
I'm Don Neal, 313 Lynx Cove, Owensboro, Kentucky. I spoke about a month ago. I was born and raised in this city. I came back here and practiced pediatrics for 45 years and did the best I could to raise healthy children or help families raise healthy children. They are now adults and they're grandparents and that sort of thing. And we've made all kinds of strides. We're now in the top 20 of the 120 counties in this state as far as health factors. And I'm really proud of that. And one of those has been our smoking ordinance, which we have been very proud to do. I think we were the third city in Kentucky to become a non-smoking community, and we have a strong ordinance and we need to keep it. You know, health is all you've got. You may have health, wealth, you may have land, you may have whatever. But if you don't have health, you don't have anything. And that's what we need to have. I was so proud this week, as it was announced by Bart Darrell at the Rooster Booster, that we're now forming an innovation center, which will train what will essentially be mid-level health practitioners in this city. And I can tell you as a physician how much that will add to us as we try to make this a healthy city. Owensboro Health has gone a long way as far as providing a center for health and wellness in this town, and it needs help. We really need primary care physicians. And so any of you who are in the sound of my voice at this time who have a child who might be going away to be a doctor, tell them about Owensboro and bring them back. I left this town 8 years ago and moved to Florida thinking that it would be a really healthy place. It's not. I don't care what your politics are, it sucks in Florida. But anyway, I came back here 2 years ago and I found a city that's very progressive, and I think that things you need to understand is you sometimes need to get away from your hometown to find out what a good place it is. And I'm so proud to be back here, proud of all that we do, proud of you all, proud of all of us. So let's do what we can to stick to our guns and not give in to Churchill Downs. They can live without it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Neal. Anyone else? Thinking about it? Come on. You have to get up there and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Mark Kenny. I live at 332 Legion Boulevard. I run Owensboro Insurance Agency. I think it'd be a great misstep if we don't let this project go through. I think it would create a lot of jobs, and it just can't let it get past us. That's the main thing. So I'm a little bit nervous right now. So I really think my wife and I think Churchill Downs should be in this town, at least in the county. But we just cannot let this thing pass. We don't want to go out there. If you don't want to smoke, don't go out there. I mean, you can smoke outside. A lot of things cause cancer, not just smoking. So I think it really should be, this city should be dedicated to get this program, this Churchill Downs facility constructed right away. It should be already constructed, in my opinion. Of course, the bridge out there needs some work, But I really think the Churchill Downs should be, very much needed, and I really think we should go after it, face down. So that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you
A
for
little
stepping
nervous.
up. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Welcome to stay.